No, it's a different time period. It's a different era. But do you fuss and fight about money? Let's look at 1 Timothy chapter 6. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse number 10. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse number 10. Read.
For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows.
Now make sure you really read that verse correctly in your private time, because the Bible does not say that money is the root of all evil, but it says the love of money is the root of all evil. And it's because of people's out of control love for money that so much crime and various vices grip the historic black communities. It's a very, very, very sad thing that a person will love money more than their fellow man. They love money enough until they'll bring crack cocaine into the schools in the communities that they live in just to make money, not even being concerned about ruining people's lives. It's the love of money that will cause a man it just will cause a man to prey on young girls and to see that they didn't, look at certain qualities and signs to see that they didn't have a good relationship with a father. And instead of him being a father to them, but he'll prey on them and grab them and start pimping them and put them into human slavery, so to speak, and human trafficking. The love of money, it causes all kinds of ills to come. Where's your relationship as it relates to money? If you're already married, do you and your husband, you and your wife, do you constantly fuss about money? If you're not married, do you and your potential spouse fuss and argue about money? Most of the time in a relationship, one person will be a saver and the other one is going to be more of a spender. I challenge you, if both of you are spenders, oh God, you better pray. You better pray, because you may love each other, but you might be loving each other under a bridge. Because somebody's got to have some rational sense to put some money up. And then somebody told me, they said, well, Bishop, people say save for a rainy day, and I'm not going to speak that because I just don't believe I need to save for a rainy day. And I told them, let me tell you something, whether you save for it or not, it's going to rain one day. It rains in everybody's life. And you can sure get through that storm better when you've prepared for it. Okay? While we're talking about money, too, this has been the big story in the news, and I just want to hit this. I don't normally talk about other ministers, but a lot of you have been hearing about the situation with Pastor Dollar asking for the jet. And I want to say this to you. First of all, he asked 200,000 of his followers. He asked 200,000 people who were either in his church or connected to his ministry through partnership for an offering. He did not stand up there like an ISIS representative with a machete in one hand and an M16 around him saying, I got your addresses, and if you don't send it in, we coming at you. He didn't do that. He asked for an offering. Secondly, I admire his integrity, because whether you agree with what he asked for or not, or the reason he asked for it, I admire his integrity, because it would have been so easy to say, I want to collect this to build an orphanage. I want to collect this to do work overseas in Africa. I want to collect this. No, but he was honest. I want to collect this to buy a jet. Now, it's out on the table. If you're not one of his followers, if you're not one of his partners, don't send it. if you are one of his followers, and if you are one of his partners, and you don't want to send it, don't send it. But what's wrong with it? And the reason so many people can knock it is because they have this mentality that the secular world, they can do those things. But when you're in the church, you're supposed to be poor. So I'm not mad at him. I didn't know anything about his appeal back in February. I really didn't. The news media, all they've done was help him get the word out. They just helped ensure that he's going to get it, because I ain't sure what I'm going to send, but I'm going to send him something on this jet, because I started thinking about that thing. I said, I wouldn't mind having a jet myself. And so I'm going to sow where I'm trying to go. I mean, if I help him get his jet, somebody might help me get my pimped out trailer bus, Because I sure could use one of them right now. All this traveling I be doing, man, I could sure use one. So if I sow into him, you know what? Somebody might just say, you know what? We're going to get Bishop a bus. But I mean, folks, they funny, man. It's the love of money. It would have been wrong if he had told people, I'm taking this up for one thing, and then later we found out he bought a jet with it. But he said, I'm trying to buy another jet. You either support it or not. No deception. Can't ask for no more than that. And what happens is, a lot of us, our minds, we can't get our minds there. We only think that kind of stuff, like I say, is for the movie stars. Okay? So get your mouth off of that man.
Yes, sir.
All he did was ask for an offering. No different than what I do. Like right now, I'm trying to get 500 people just to support this convocation we're getting ready to have in July. I need 500 of you to actually register for convocation. It's no different. It would be different if I said I wanted 500 people to register for convocation and I took the money and went and bought my bus. That would be wrong. Y'all get down there to the embassy in July. They were like, ain't nothing been paid. Y'all ain't having no convocation down here. And I ride by in my bus. Boop, boop. That's wrong. But when you tell people up front what the money is for and you're using it for that cause, there's nothing wrong with that. Do we fuss and argue about money? Number 3, are we totally committed to the success of this marriage? Totally. If you're not totally committed to marriage, just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. So good to see Brother Wallace here today. God bless him. And but my heart goes out to him and to Mother Arnold, to Deaconess Mills, to many others that had made the plans to be married forever. And with Deacon Arnold, it was just age. He was in his 90s. Deaconess Mills, Brother Wallace, their spouses just unexpectedly passed. And these are just 2 people even in our congregation that never thought they'd have to be dealing with the single issue again. no fault of their own, nothing that they did, and they just look up one day, the whole life has changed. Everything is different. You know, trying to get back out there after a significant period of time, letting themselves heal, trying to move on. Heard his daughter say, I got news for you, baby. You know, he may not be ready yet, but he'll let you know when. He'll let you know when. And even in that, and I'm glad for that emotion, because let me say this. If you have a parent that has gone through that, or a divorce, or the death of one of your parents, and when they get to that place where they feel like they're ready to marry again, you have to remember that no one can take the place of your mother. No one can take the place of your father. This person that they're going to be marrying or uniting with in the future, that's not your mama, that's not your daddy. But at the end of the day, it's about companionship, because if a person has been married for a significant period of time, chances are they've spent more days of their lives with someone than they have without someone. And it's a major culture shock. So a lot of times, depending on the stage of life when that happens, and they get remarried, it's not even about the same kind of stuff it was about when they were younger. You know, it's not about, you know, y'all understand where I'm coming from. That ain't what it's even about. It's more about the companionship. I'm tired of waking up every morning, nobody to say good morning to. Going to sleep at night, nobody to say, pass me the remote. You know, you're just by yourself. So when they get to that place where they're ready to move on, you know, you got to try to support them as best you can. All right? Yes, Lord. Hallelujah. All right. Mark chapter 10, verse 2 through 13.
And the Pharisees came to him and asked him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife? Tempting him. And he answered and said unto them, what did Moses command you? And they said, Moses suffered to write a bill of divorcement and to put her away. And Jesus answered and said unto them, for the hardness of your heart he wrote you this precept. But from the beginning of the creation God made them male and female. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. So then they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore God hath joined together, let no man put asunder. And in the house his disciples asked him again of the same matter. And he said unto them, whosoever shall put away his wife and marry another committeth adultery against her. And if a woman shall put away her husband and be married to another, she committed adultery. And they brought young children to him, that he should touch them. And his disciples rebuked those that brought them.
All right. Look back at verse number 9, if you will. When we look there, this is a very, very, very powerful passage. It says, what therefore God has joined together, let not man put asunder. And another passage, and we'll get into that, perhaps, I doubt if we'll get into it today,